Welcome back everyone. Thank you for joining me today. In today's video we're going to be overhauling my very first Scx24. Bought this one when the Scx24s first came out. We have some Endura running boards, still using the Emax servo, radio link receiver. We have the Endura 50 turn Pro motor, Endura ESC version 2. We have these beautiful Meus axles, Meus, whatever you want to call them, that actually came with 14% underdrive for the rear axle. Some really nice steering links to match. That is a rear upper link riser and the servo plate with adjustability. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'm going to have some rock crawling before with the stock axles and old electronics, and then an after video with the new Meus axles and new electronics. Alright, some standard things you're going to need. You're going to want some Loctite on these axles since they're all metal. Going to need some grease for the new overdrive, underdrive gears for the rear axle. A 0.05 inch driver. That's the standard hardware for the Scx24s. You're going to need a Phillips or a star head screwdriver, 4mm wheel wrench, and you're also going to want the T-wrench as well, so you can take off the axle nuts that are already installed. They have them on the ends. I already took them off. And I already went ahead and opened up the front just to check for grease, and I already Loctited those 4 bolts. They did come with grease, and not just a light coat, so they're properly greased, which is really nice. But since we want to throw the underdrive in, we're going to start taking these apart, the rear axle apart. And as you can see, there is grease on these gears already, which is fantastic. If you just want to go ahead and install these without any overdrive or underdrive, you can just toss them in. Just Loctite the screws, you're good to go. So we're going to pull all our stuff over there. Pull the wheel hex, get your pin out. Wheel hex, pin out. You're not going to be able to pull these. That's why I said you're going to need the Phillips screwdriver. And by the look of this hardware, you're going to need a really small eyeglass screwdriver. So I'm going to have to find one of those. I know I have one. That one will not work. I'll be right back. Alright, I found it. Screwdriver set from Dollarama. Probably only cost about $3. Definitely comes in handy when you need it. So this looks like the smallest Phillips star screwdriver in the set. Put that to the side for now. And this is why we need that screwdriver. It's got some Phillips head hardware to remove the rear axle shafts. It's a little odd, but I guess it works. There's 1, there's 2. Axle shaft out. There's 1. And there's 2. Move that second axle shaft so we can remove the ring gear. That's the gear that was already in. Had a nice amount of grease on it. Okay. Now we want the new ring gear. Let's try not to get these confused. There's usually 2 bearings on this worm gear. You'll need to take those off for the new one. One of the bearings stayed seated in the housing. I was wondering where that one went. I need some grease on the ring gear. Or on the worm gear and ring gear, I should say. Maybe we'll try to get both bearings in first. There we go. Perfect. Alright, got those axle shafts in. Okay. That one bearing was still inside the housing. So there we go. And we're going to want to Loctite the third member. So all of those screws are going into metal. There we go. But before we do that, we'll get the set screws for the axle shafts back in with a dab of Loctite. Alright, on to third member bolts. There we go. We got rear underdrive and the axle. We're just going to leave the wheel hexes and wheel nuts off for now. Have to fully assemble this front axle. Get Loctite on these screws here. Alright. Everything's Loctited that needs to be so far. I think it is time that we start getting out all these old axles and electronics. Start getting the new stuff in. I apologize for not showing the actual install of the axles. That's something that just took a little bit longer than I was expecting. So sorry about that. Show you guys the electronics layout quickly. Ended up being a bit of a nightmare. Wasn't able to use the running board, so we mounted the ESC on the inside driver's door. Decased the radio link receiver so we could stick it on that little platform I have back there. And battery will go up front on this tray. Still got to clean that up a little bit so my wires aren't going to be sticking out all over the place. So I'll get back to you guys after I finish that up. Alright, so got the wiring cleaned up a little bit better. And if you're still here watching, we're going to have some run footage at the end of this video. We're going to have before and after. So before with the stock axles with some upgrades, some brass, and then an after video with the sweet new Meus axles installed. So thank you for watching to this point, and I hope you enjoy the running footage. Don't have that steering. There we go. Nope. It was not squared up enough. Oh ho ho. Right on. That was a good crawl. Alright, we have the first test with the new Meus axles, new wheels, new Endura brushed motor, and ESC. Let's see how well we can do. Huge difference having all the steer, the Meus axles. Big difference. Very nice. Got caught watching the camera and not the truck there. Beautiful. Stuck it right on. Oh, sweet. Well, I think that's a pretty good first run. Try and get another run in, couple, before these rocks freeze over. It's getting cold here now. Excellent. Alright guys, let me know if you like the new look of the Jeep. I think it looks pretty sharp. Those Meus axles with the added width, pretty killer. Alright guys, hit that like button if you haven't already. Consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, I'm getting in. It's cold. Let's see if we can get this. Oh, almost. Oh, alright guys, have a good one. Thanks for watching.